You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Well, good morning to you and welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer and thanks for joining us on this Monday morning live on Fox Local and on YouTube. We've got a lot to get to today. I want to let you know a little bit of what you can expect from us, not just in this next hour, but throughout the day here on Fox Local, really. Want to let you know that coming up at noon, we're going to hear from the Florida Gators, the athletics department, the athletics director, the interim head coach. As you may have heard over the weekend, that the Gators fired their head football coach, Billy Napier, after what has been a rough season so far. The Gators won on Saturday, but still not enough to save Napier's job, and so they are now changing gears at this point, and we're going to hear from them coming up at noon. We will, Fox 35 will be there. We will be live streaming that for you right here on Fox Local and on YouTube coming up. That's expected around noon. We also just heard just moments ago from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was in Bradenton. She was talking about ICE operations there and across the country, really talking about, let me get this number right, in the last 270 days, 480,000 arrests when it comes to illegal immigrants. She says that the Trump administration continuing to target, quote, the worst of the worst in making those arrests and deporting them. So we will hear from her coming up in just a minute. We are also tracking the tropics, this invested 98L that is likely to become a future tropical storm. Melissa could even become a major hurricane. We're going to talk with Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner about that coming up in just a little bit as well, and what we need to know. Let me give you a live look right now, though. This is at the Economic Club of New York, where Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, will be speaking shortly. He is obviously the leader of the Democrats in the House. This is day 20 of the government shutdown, and still really no end in sight. We know the Senate floor will open later today. That's at 3 o'clock, I believe. They're supposed to begin voting around 5:30, but again, nothing major expected to change with this ongoing government shutdown as we approach week 3. I can also give you a live look at the White House right now, where President Trump is expected to greet the Australian Prime Minister any minute now. Still probably a few minutes out. We have watched these a time or two, and you can kind of tell when things are getting close. So still a few minutes out, but he's going to be greeting the Australian Prime Minister. They're going to be holding a meeting here shortly, so we will likely listen into some of that as well, because President Trump often speaks with reporters, answers questions from the press during those as well. So we have a busy day for you ahead here on Fox 35 News Plus, and we appreciate you joining us on this Monday morning. You may have had some tech issues to begin your Monday morning. If so, you weren't the only one. Amazon Web Services going down that caused problems for a lot of people with a lot of apps and services that they use. We're going to talk in just a little bit with Matt Rose, the CXO of Tech Rage IT, who kind of talks us through what happened, how they were able to at least resolve that for now, and what the takeaway is moving forward. So we'll have that for you coming up in just a little bit. But we do want to begin this morning by hearing from U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She was in Bradenton speaking just moments ago. That news conference just wrapped up here a few minutes ago. She took some questions talking about ICE operations and the ongoing effort to arrest illegal immigrants in the United States.
Today and give you an update of not just what the work that President Trump is conducting across the country to make families and their communities safer, but also what this office in particular has focused on, the results that they have delivered, but then also what the state of Florida and the partnerships that they have brought to the federal government as far as incarcerating criminal illegal aliens and bringing them to justice. Today marks 9 months since President Trump has been in office, and since he began his work to restore American safety for our families that live here. What he has accomplished for the American people is nothing short of extraordinary. We appreciate what he has done to make us safe again, to secure our borders, and to make sure that he's protecting our people. Since January, the Department of Homeland Security has arrested over 480,000 criminal illegal aliens. 70% of those individuals have criminal charges against them or have been convicted of those criminal charges. Across the country, we're making communities safer so that families can thrive and they can prosper and they can enjoy the kind of freedom that this country was established to provide. Unfortunately, many times we see the news distorting the truth and not bringing the real facts of the stories to the American people, and that is one of the reasons why we're here today, is to make sure that we're focused on what this office has done, our HSI officers, our ICE officers, the criminals that they've taken off the streets here in this city and also this state, and what we can do to get many of these items like you see on the table in front of me out of our communities. You see in front of us illegal rifles, handguns. You see drugs that have been taken off of our streets that are saving the lives of Americans every single day. I want to speak directly to the American people today and remind them and recall the fact that we are focused on the worst of the worst, bringing these individuals to justice. We're not going to let individuals terrorize our streets anymore, and we're not going to let them make victims out of families that live in this country. I'll give you some examples of individuals that were brought to justice here in Sarasota and in this area. The first one I'll talk about is a convicted murderer whose name is Eric Carlos Artiles Ramos, an illegal alien who was from Cuba. He had a prior removal order in 2008, and now because of the work of this office, he is off the streets. He was also previously convicted of kidnapping and carjacking. We also have another individual, Oscar Alfredo Retena Marroquin, an illegal alien from El Salvador. He was convicted of sexual assault against a child in 1995, and he was also arrested for DUI. He has been deported twice before, in 1999 and in 2019. Reentry after deportation, I'll remind all of you, is a felony. The next individual is Arturo Sanchez Morales. He's an illegal alien from Mexico. He was arrested for driving drunk, and he's already been deported once before. He re-entered, which is a felony, and was issued a final order of removal in 2016. He had previously been arrested for burglary as well, for possession of cocaine and larceny, and has convictions for multiple DUIs and lewd acts against a minor. And again, I'll talk about Leilis Ronaldo Benaro Zarin, who is an individual from Honduras who's been in this country illegally, and he has a conviction for domestic battery. He'd been deported twice before, in 2011 and in 2017. These individuals are just a handful of people that have been in this country creating victims out of American citizens that now those families do no longer have to worry about. Not only have they been brought into and incarcerated, but they're going to be brought to justice and pay for the crimes that they've committed. Every single day, our law enforcement officers put their lives at risk to protect the American people. Every single day, they get up and they go do their jobs to make sure that American families can live the lives that they've dreamed of since they were young. The left's anti-cop rhetoric has led to a 1,000% increase in violence against our law enforcement officers. We have to stop the rhetoric that is allowing individuals the cover that they want to perpetuate violence against those who enforce our laws. Last month, we had an individual open fire at an ICE facility, and we also saw victims from that attack that happened, not just against ICE agents, but also about detainees that were there at that facility. That individual, when he fired upon the building, created some victims. We lost 2 lives there. 3 individuals were hurt, and 2 died later on after that event. The suspect had anti-ICE written on the ammunition and on his bullet casings, proving that he had targeted against individuals that were working to keep our streets safe. Criminals are now even placing bounties on our law enforcement officers. This last month, the Department of Homeland Security arrested a criminal illegal alien and a Latin Kings gang member who placed a bounty on our U.S. Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino. Still, they keep pressing on, and we've seen as well individuals on TikTok and other apps making threats against our law enforcement officers, putting bounties out on their head, and we will bring all of those individuals to justice. We will continue to bring murderers and rapists, those who perpetuate violence, pedophiles, gang members in our communities. We will go after them, bring them to justice, and we will save lives. The American people see this, and they see that President Trump is focused on making sure that our streets are safe and that our families have opportunities to raise their children in safe communities. In fact, recent polls have shown that 54% of Americans want illegals to be brought into justice, and they want to deport those who are in this country illegally. But 78% of Americans want these criminal illegal aliens brought to justice. That's because the American people understand the benefits of having law and order again. They understand the benefit of having a leader that focuses on making sure that we are a nation of borders, but we're a nation of laws, and those laws are enforced. To the brave men and women of ICE and HSI and the law enforcement that are partnering with us, thank you. Thank you for all that you do to protect our country. Thank you for risking your lives for the American people and being willing to go out and stand for what is right, stand for law and order. And the American people are extremely grateful for that. To everyone else out there, I would ask you to please thank a law enforcement officer if you see them today. Cook them a meal for their family, support them, give them a word of encouragement. It's been 9 months since President Trump has been in office, and he's made an incredible difference for the American people. Let's make sure that those individuals who go out every single day and keep our streets safe, that they get the opportunity to be thanked for that as well. And with that, I will open it up for any questions that you may have. Yes?
Thank you so much for coming. I understand that ICE is working with local law enforcement agencies, including Florida Highway Patrol, to carry out much of its enforcement, and that a lot of, at least here in Florida, a lot of the arrests are being made through picking up these folks for traffic infractions, for example, like holding them in jail. Can you talk about that partnership and how information is communicated between local law enforcement and ICE?
Well, it's been fantastic to see the partnerships that we've had here in Florida, in this community, but also throughout the entire state. We have a program called 287G, which allows local law enforcement agencies to partner with us on enforcement activities. And that has been very beneficial to making sure that we're out there working together, cooperative, bringing people to justice, and then making those law enforcement officers involved in helping keep their communities safe as well. And we're grateful for that. Florida has been, I think, the state that has provided the most law enforcement agreements under the 287G than any other state, and it shows that they recognize the importance of bringing individuals to justice that have convicted crimes against the people that live in their communities, but also ways that we can support our federal government in the work that we do as well, as far as enforcing our immigration laws, but also making sure that these dangerous terrorists and criminals and gang members are brought to justice and removed out of our country. Yes.
Why do you feel it's necessary to come all the way to Sarasota, Florida, to make these announcements today? Considering this is just four of many arrests going on nationwide, and why specifically Sarasota versus going to Chicago or Portland?
Well, I've been to Chicago. And I've been to Portland and focused on supporting those law enforcement officers and operations there. I'm in Sarasota today because people don't get to hear the media cover these individuals that have been removed off of the streets, the good work that law enforcement officers have already done. Many times when I turn on the news and listen to the networks, they're not covering the victims anymore that we've lost because of these crimes. They're not covering the individuals that have been brought to justice. Instead, they're trying to demonize our law enforcement officers. So to talk about these individuals that have been taken off the streets and show how much safer the American people are, we can show that that work can continue. These individuals that I spoke about today are not on the streets creating more victims. There's still individuals out there, though, that we need to bring to justice. And this is a reminder of the work that we do, but that we need to continue that work and let these law enforcement officers know that they're appreciated.
To maximize your investment in the time to come to Florida, you meet with, say, the sheriffs here who signed up with the program you just mentioned. Also, we're not very far from Alligator Alcatraz or Deportation Depot. Are you going to be possibly visiting there?
I have been to Alligator Alcatraz. I have visited it. I have not seen Deportation Depot yet, but we're grateful for those partnerships with the state of Florida. That has helped us with detainment centers that will allow us to host these individuals until their due process is finished and they can be removed from our country. So we're grateful for that. In fact, Alligator Alcatraz was the first project that we had with the state as far as putting together these beds, and we've had several other states now that have shared these agreements with us as well. So in Indiana, Nebraska, other states that have partnered, and will continue to do that because it's more efficient for the taxpayers, but it also meets the needs that we have for bed space until individuals can be removed.
While on the subject of travel, we've received some criticism about the recent purchase of two business jets made by Gulfstream to the tune of $200 million going to the Coast Guard, which is one of your departments. It was stated by the two representatives about this, about their questioning about this. They said that your frequent appearances at ongoing operations which require the diversion of resources to focus on your security appears to be unjustified. What is your comment to that?
These aircraft are Coast Guard aircraft to replace 25-year-old airplanes that are necessary for the mission of the Coast Guard. Congress appropriated the dollars and paid for them in the big, beautiful bill, and we're grateful that we're able to move forward and make sure that Force Design 2028 for the Coast Guard is mission fulfilled, and they can continue to serve our country, not just in a search and rescue mission, but also cooperating with our Department of War. And they're helping us in incredible ways with drug interdiction and bringing these cartels to justice as well. Yes.
We see working families afraid to go out without documents. What message do you have for them?
You're saying that working families are afraid to go out? I think they should be in this country legally. They have no fear whatsoever if they're in this country abiding by our laws. And that is the wonderful thing about America. Everybody is treated equally, and we don't pick and choose who the law applies to and who it doesn't. So individuals have the opportunity every day, if they're here illegally, to go home. Go home to your country and come the right way. If they wait until we detain them and we have to remove them ourselves, they'll never get the chance to come back to America. Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned, the fact that the media is not talking enough about some of the dangerous folks that you guys are catching and removing from the country. Do you think that it might have something to do with the tactics, the masked ICE agents grabbing people out of cars and off the street, or coming out of their immigration hearings? We've seen images of families, children are crying. It's just sort of shocking in this country, never having seen that type of thing.
No, I think that our law enforcement officers are doing everything appropriately and correct to make sure people are brought to justice. And that's the opportunity that we've given individuals from day one, was that if they're in this country illegally, that they can come to us, we will pay them to leave this country $1,000 and buy them a plane ticket to leave. People get to keep their children with them. If they've committed a crime against individuals in this country, they will be brought to justice. They will be prosecuted for those crimes. We've been very clear about that, and I'm grateful for our law enforcement officers that in the face of danger are out there every day, still doing their job and doing what they can to make sure that they are safe, that they are doing it appropriately, and that they get to go home to their kids and their family members too. I think most people look around a room full of law enforcement officers, and sometimes the media doesn't tell the story that they all have families too, and that they deserve to go home that night and tuck their kids into bed and to be able to get up and support their family and pay their bills as well. That's what today is, 9 months of law enforcement officers finally getting to do their job again, finally getting to do what they took an oath to do, and that's uphold the law and be fair and just in how they do that, and I'm so proud of the work that they've done.
So what happens to these 4 individuals? Are they going to be deported immediately?
They will be prosecuted for their crimes first in this country and serve their convictions if they're convicted, which many of them have long histories of criminal activity, and then they will be deported to their home countries.
Not to a third country?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on how that arrangement is negotiated. If you remember, we work with the Department of State on every single individual, on how we organize those travel documents, how we work with countries, and how they take their citizens back home.
How's your recruitment effort going to hire 10,000 new agents?
Yeah, we had over 175,000 applicants for our 10,000 new ICE agents. We have many of them that are already out on the job. They've completed their training. We also have huge recruitment for not just ICE agents and HSI, but our Secret Service law enforcement officers, our CBP officers. All of those recruitment efforts are through the roof because I think of the individuals that are excited about defending the homeland, protecting this country, and making sure that they have the ability to go out and to do a job that they can be proud of. Yes.
There's been a lot of conversation and talk about the alleged lack of transparency with regards to ICE releasing information about its operations. Can you speak to the transparency or lack thereof with regards to current operations to detain people here illegally?
I'm not certain about those accusations. We are conducting our law enforcement operations just how we always have been. Exactly how law enforcement does investigations, how we do operations. Many of those times, those operations need to be secure, but we have not changed our protocols in how we uphold the law and how we bring people to justice based on any kind of policy that's been put in place under this administration.
And so can you also talk about the communication between ICE and local law enforcement agents that
We would love to have local law enforcement across the country participating with us. Many times that's not true. Here in Sarasota, it's been fantastic. Here in Florida, it's been amazing. But you go into other communities and other states, and many times those governors are political. Those leaders in those towns, Portland's a great example of the mayor who chooses to play politics instead of keeping his citizens safe. Governor Pritzker in Illinois is putting his people in danger every day by going against us and not working with us to make sure that we're detaining individuals who have criminal charges against them or have been convicted and then re-releasing them out on the streets. We're starting to see better partnership out of some law enforcement officers who recognize that their citizens feel differently than their political leaders. Their citizens recognize that they want their streets safer. We saw that in Washington, D.C., that people that experience the freedom of being able to walk down a street, go to a restaurant again, be able to, conduct normal life and let their kids play in a playground, they enjoyed it, and they let their political leaders know that, and they've cooperated with us more. We continue to have targeted operations in many, many cities, but also very focused on those where challenges are still remaining, such as Portland, Chicago. We're in Memphis as well. We're going into San Francisco at the direction of the president as well. We're going to continue to make sure we're focused not just in those cities that we hear about on the news, but also cities like Sarasota, that we make sure that law enforcement officers in every single community get the chance to continue to get these criminals off of their streets.
Is it true, though, the majority of arrests or detentions that are happening are people who are either low-level crimes, like
Well, what would you call a low-level crime? I would say anybody who's been victimized by somebody who's committed a crime, it's significant to them. It's significant. That's significant if they end up causing harm to someone. If they're not trained and don't have a license and they're on the street operating illegally, get into an accident, hurt someone, then that no longer is a low-level crime. We have laws, and we don't get to pick which ones matter and which ones don't. Every single one of our laws has been put in place for a reason, and therefore will be enforced. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for making sure that we're covering the good work that President Trump is doing and what he's doing to make sure that we're bringing people to justice for the crimes that they've committed. Right here in Sarasota, we've gotten murderers off the street, rapists, people who have committed crimes against children, and now today the people of Sarasota and in Florida and our country are safer because of it. May God bless each and every one of our law enforcement officers for the work that they do, and continue to go out and to thank them. Thank them for what they're doing in the light of political attacks and threats from individuals that have an agenda. Thank them for standing up for freedom and for making sure that America can continue to be a safe country, but also a country of many liberties and blessings. God bless you.
That was Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem speaking just moments ago in Bradenton, wrapping up that news conference there, talking about arrests when it comes to ICE and some of their operations as well. While we were listening to that, we saw President Trump greet the Australian Prime Minister, who is going to be meeting with him the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is his name. They're getting ready to meet, and we will likely hear from the president here in just a few minutes. So we'll monitor that and bring that to you live if and when we do hear from them. So we're going to take a break right now here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we will be right back. So keep it right here on Fox Local and on YouTube. We have a lot more to get to, so you won't want to miss anything.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer, and thanks for joining us on this Monday morning live on Fox Local and on YouTube. I want to get you a couple of your News Plus headlines at this hour. The search is on for the alleged shooter after an 8-year-old boy was shot inside an apartment in Casselberry. Fox 35's Amanda Ruiz has what we know about that story.
Good morning, ladies. It's absolutely terrifying for these neighbors, but we're trying to figure out why this little kid was shot in the first place. But the police have ruled out it being a domestic violence case as well as it being an accidental shooting. So we're still trying to look for those answers. Right now, residents told us that they heard 6 to 7 shots in their neighborhood around 11:30 Sunday morning. It happened at a Casselberry apartment complex on Monarch Circle just off of Cimarron Boulevard. Police say the 8-year-old boy was shot in the leg while inside his apartment. One resident told us that she saw the boys in his father's arms.
Just like pulled out and seeing everybody show up, and they were carrying a little boy out, and his dad was with him, just kind of screaming.
So how is that little boy doing? We all have that same question. Right now, police can only tell us that he's still in the hospital. Well, when we learn more, we will make sure we share it with you guys. Reporting in Casselberry, Amanda Ruiz, Fox 35 News.
Yeah, so still very much an ongoing situation there. We are also trying to learn more about the situation in Osceola County, where deputies are looking for a man who is suspected of trying to kidnap a woman early Saturday morning. Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie has that story.
Good morning. Well, Osceola County deputies say the woman who had scrapes and bruises on her body ran into this Rebel convenience store at the mobile gas station screaming for help, and fortunately a clerk inside was able to call 911. Now, deputies say the woman was walking near this gas station on East Erlo Bronson and Cross Prairie Parkway around 4 a.m. on Saturday. She told deputies a man stopped his car and offered her a ride. She said she got in the car thinking he was an Uber driver. The woman told deputies shortly into the ride he made inappropriate sexual comments, and when she asked to be let out, he refused. She said she started to scream, and when he began driving faster, she said she did a tuck and roll out of the moving car. A gas station employee told Fox 35 that he saw her run inside, and he called 911.
I'm over here cleaning, and I hear a scream and a yell. I turn my back, and it's a older lady running into the store, asking to call 911. She said that somebody tried to grab her, and when I noticed her. She had a scraped elbow and bruised knee. She ran here because she was out of breath when she first walked in.
Take another look here at this photo of the silver SUV that deputies believe the suspect was driving. The driver is described as a Hispanic man in his early 30s with a handlebar-style mustache. At the time of the incident, he was wearing a white shirt and black baseball cap. If you have any information about this attempted kidnapping or believe you can identify this suspect, you can make a tip anonymously by calling Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS. Reporting live in Kissimmee, Amanda McKenzie, Fox 35 News.
Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner joins me now. And Brooks, I know there's a lot to talk about with the tropics right now. I know keeping a close eye on that new invest.
Exactly. There's an invest in the Eastern Caribbean that we're going to be talking about for the next 2 weeks. This is a really slow mover, and there are no immediate threats to Florida. So that's good news, but it's going to cause some mayhem wherever it tracks. That's for sure. Let's get to it right now. Looking outside, we've got a weak cold front moving through that's pretty much stalling over the region. For most of us, there's bright sunshine, but for some of us, like in Ocala at this hour, it's still on the cloudy side there with temperatures in the upper 60s. We got mid-70s in Orlando. We're on the way to the mid-80s. The wind out of the north, look at the gusty winds on Lake Fairview, 76, feeling like fall. And it's really just very beautiful outside. But watch out at the beaches. There's a really high risk for rip currents thanks to the flow, as we've got it in wave action and also amplified tides with the astronomically high tides. Now, hour by hour, we'll go from the mid-70s to highs close to 85 degrees about 5 p.m. Our rain chance today, very, very low. Maybe a couple of sprinkles from here to there. 85 in Kissimmee today, 87 in Winter Haven, about 79 at Daytona Beach. A little bit cooler right there on the immediate waters. So in the tropics, this is the invest set to become a tropical depression or tropical storm as soon as today or tomorrow. The National Hurricane Center honing in on this one. Obviously, it's starting to look organized. It's got a cohesive blob of convection, thunderstorm activity right in the center. And it's trekking over waters that are still to date untouched by a tropical system this season. So there's a high level of ocean heat content. The temperatures there are in the middle and upper 80s for the water temperature, so it's very hot. Plenty of fuel for the fire. And the Hurricane Center says there's an 80% chance this develops this week, probably a higher chance than that. I'd give an 80% chance of developing in the next couple of days. But the latest spaghetti model suggests that it's going to stall as we head toward Thursday and Friday. somewhere south of Jamaica or Haiti, and then do a loop-the-loop and then get picked up by a front and carried northeastward. Now that would avoid Florida, but that would cause some problems. We'll get Haiti right there. Haiti's very mountainous. It's devoid of trees largely. It's been deforested. It's a very impoverished nation with very little resilience from natural disasters. Last time they got hit by a major hurricane was 2016 with Matthew, and it was enough to cause catastrophic flooding, mudslides, killing over 500 people. This would have that potential, unfortunately, if it was to track into Haiti. So this is not a good thing at all. But as far as the ensemble models, the spaghetti models take it into, we'll back it up here, the ensemble models take it into Haiti. A lot of the other models kind of take it farther west, stall it out, and then maybe work it through Cuba, the Caymans, Jamaica. Either way, it's likely to become a hurricane. And some of the models are forecasting a Category 4 or 5 hurricane once we get into early next week. So this could be a major hurricane depending on how it tracks. A large majority of the models keep it as a tropical storm or a minimal hurricane, but latest indications suggest that this one could have some punch to it.
Yeah, and that's, you talk about it as kind of an untapped potential in that area because we haven't seen systems kind of come out of there so far this season. So, can you talk a little bit about that and what that means now for, kind of a lot of fuel left in that fire, essentially?
That's exactly right. So the function of a hurricane is to move warmth that collects in the equator in the heat sink that is the ocean. So you have months and months and months of almost direct equatorial sunshine, and it really heats up the water to like a boiling point relative to the water. It's not 212 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's like close to 90. And it really is a heat sink where it absorbs all of the sunshine, all the heat of the world. And so hurricanes develop to transport that northward toward the poles to equalize everything out. And it's just part of the normal process. The Earth wants equality from pole to pole, from North Pole to equator. And so that's why weather happens. It's just the movement of cold to warm. In this case, it's a movement of warm. And the way it does it is it transports it using what's called latent heat. And that's just basically clouds, dense clouds full of raindrops and wind. And that latent heat is transported from the equator to the northern latitudes where it falls as really heavy rain. Case in point was Hurricane Helene that hit North Carolina. And when it did that, it dumped 20 inches of rain. And that was all that tropical rain being transported from the south to the north. And so the vessel, if you will, like if it's a train on a track, the cars is the latent heat. It's like a UPS package being sent north. And so being untapped, there is a ton of energy that is yet to be picked up and transported. It has to before things cool down. So it's almost like a given that we're going to have at least one or two more systems down that way to cool the waters. And that's exactly what would be happening. And so since it hasn't been mixed up, since it's sort of untouched, it's just like having a giant drum of fuel and somebody's about to throw a match on it, and it's going to go up. It's just a matter of what burns. Does it go north and cause devastation in Haiti? Does it hit the Cayman Islands and be a 2008 Hurricane Paloma redo, which was a Category 4, and this one would have potential to do much the same, causing a lot of damage? Or does it go through Cuba? One thing that it looks like as of this morning is that Florida is not in play, but this will be a very slow-moving system, and it may take the better part of the next 2 weeks till Halloween before it's out of here.
Wow. All right. Well, and before we go, let's take another quick look at the 7-day forecast here.
Absolutely. So we're going to see temperatures in the middle and upper 80s next couple of days, a little bit on the humid side, but then really delightful weather coming in for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with low humidity, high temperatures in the lower 80s. And looking ahead to the weekend, maybe a couple of showers around, but nothing of any consequence. One thing that may happen, Garrett, as the system passes east of us in the Atlantic, as is the current model consensus, is that it drags down the coldest weather of the season. In fact, by November 1st, Halloween night into November 1st, we may see temperatures in the 40s and low 50s all the way down to Orlando.
Wow.
So that's 12 days away, so things can change, but that's what a lot of the models have been reflecting for the last couple of days, that as this moves out, it pulls down a big old cold front. That would be, imagine 40s. That's hard to imagine from the perspective of Florida.
That is. No doubt about that. All right. Well, something else to watch there. Fox 35 Storm Team Meteorologist Brooks Garner, we appreciate you joining us.
You bet. My pleasure. Thank you.
Let me give you a live look right now at a fun event going on right now inside Kia Center. There's 3,500 Orange County students inside Kia Center right now. This is for the Pick, Read, and Roll reading program. that the Magic are teaming up with them to incentivize these kids, these students, to improve their reading skills. So a lot of excitement over that. A big event to kick that off going on right now at Kia Center. It looks like those kids having a lot of fun there. We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back with more after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer, and thanks for joining us on this Monday morning, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. Want to remind you that at the top of the hour, we are expecting to hear from officials at the University of Florida after the firing of Billy Napier. The Gators 3-4 to start the year. And the Gators making a change, and so we're going to hear from the athletics director, and the interim head coach coming up in just a little bit. I do want to go ahead and get you live now to the White House, where President Trump is getting ready to speak and to answer some questions, as well as he often does. And he is joined by the Australian Prime Minister. You see Marco Rubio, some other members of the cabinet as well, Vice President J.D. Vance there. So let's go ahead and listen in as we wait to hear from President Trump here live at the White House.
Your camera over here, or are we going to have? Who are you shooting for? Where's the pool? It's all right, later. Well, thank you very much. It's great to have the Prime Minister of Australia. Fantastic place. A lot of friends over there, and this is one of them right here. The Prime Minister is, as you know, Anthony Albanese, and he's highly respected, done very well in his election, and I hear you're very popular today, right? I mean, it varies from day to day, but with all of us. But he's done a fantastic job as the Prime Minister. We're here to talk about trade, submarines, lots of other military equipment. They're big orderers of our great military equipment. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world by far. And, ooh, you got to watch that. Watch that. You're not allowed to break that. That mirror is 400 years old. A camera just hit the mirror. Ay, ay, ay. I just moved it up here special from the vaults, and first thing that happens, the camera hits it. Hard to believe, isn't it? Hard to believe, but these are the problems in life. So we're going to be here to talk about lots of different things, and we might take a few questions before, but we are discussing critical minerals and rare earths, and we're going to be signing an agreement that's been negotiated over a period of 4 or 5 months. And it was sort of good timing that we got it done just in time for the visit. And we worked together very much on rare earths, critical minerals, and lots of other things. And we've had a very good relationship. We've been working on that for quite a while. In about a year from now, we'll have so much critical mineral and rare earths that you won't know what to do with them. They'll be worth about $2. But in the meantime, we're working with Australia and other countries. They're working with us too, but other countries also on that. But we're really working on anything having to do with military protection, military ships, vehicles, guns, ammunition, everything, the whole thing. We've been long-time allies, and I would say there's never been anybody better. We fought wars together. We never had any doubts, and it's a great honor to have you as my friend. It's a great honor to have you in the United States of America. Please, would you like to say something?
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President, for the invitation here to the White House and for showing us around the improved Oval Office, and for what you're doing around here as well, and for the great honour as well of my delegation saying just across the road. We could have walked, but they didn't let us. We drove all of 20 metres there from Blair House, but it's a great honour to be able to stay there. We are great friends and we're great allies, and this is a relationship that's been forged in the battlefields of the world. We have stood side by side for freedom and democracy, and congratulations, I must say, Mr. President, on the work that you've done with the Middle East. It's an extraordinary achievement. And on defence, we've already had a discussion about taking it to the next level. Our defence and security partnership with AUKUS is so important for us, and I thank you for the support that the administration are giving as well. You've had the Chief of the Navy here as well, which will play obviously a very critical role with the subs and increasing the security for the region and the world. And our economic relationship is so important. The US has a trade surplus with Australia, as you know, and we can continue to take what is every opportunity to improve the relationship even further and make it even stronger. And today's agreement on critical minerals and rare earths is just taking it to the next level, seizing those opportunities which are before us to take our relationship to that next level. And it's been fantastic, the contact that we've had together, the friendship that we've developed. And Australians love America, and I think Americans kind of like Australia too.
Sure, we do.
And as we go forward, I think that today will be seen as a really significant day in our relationship. So I thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony. It's an honor to sign this, and we'll do it now. And then we'll take some questions. Some good ones, I think. Okay.
Well, this is a $8.5 billion pipeline that we have ready to go.
That's right. It's all ready to go.
Just getting started.
And we're doing a real job on rare earth and many other things. Perhaps I could ask John to say a few words, and then we'll exchange papers. But just how are we doing on your naval purchases and all of the submarines that we're working on with Australia. How's that going?
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, Australia is a very important ally of ours in the Indo-Pacific and in every battle. They've fought with us since World War I and have always been side by side. The facility that they're building, Surf West, is critical and very important to our ability to project power in the Indo-Pacific and work with our allies. So we're working very closely. I think what we're really trying to do is take the original AUKUS framework and improve it for all three parties and make it better and clarify some of the ambiguity that was in the prior agreement. So it should be a win-win for everybody, sir.
And the submarines that we're building for Australia are starting to really move along, right? The process is getting very exciting, isn't it?
We're getting better.
That's good. Very good. Thank
Going to
you.
be great.
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll hold this up. Okay.
Here we go.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
The AUKUS submarine pact, the AUKUS defence pact that the Prime Minister just mentioned, it is a critical issue for Australia.
Yes.
You haven't really spoken much about it publicly. It was a deal that was done under Joe Biden to sell submarines to Australia at a time when you're not really making enough for your own needs. So can you tell us, have you gotten across the details of the deal? Do you support it, and will you honour it?
It was made a while ago, and nobody did anything about it, and it was going too slowly. We do actually have a lot of submarines. We have the best submarines in the world, anywhere in the world, and we're building a few more currently under construction. And now we're starting, we have it all set. With Anthony, we've worked on this long and hard, and we're starting that process right now, and I think it's really moving along very rapidly, very well.
But if the rate of submarine production doesn't continue, how can you guarantee Australia will get the votes?
Oh, it's getting, oh no, they're getting.
Mr. President, at least 32 people have been killed in those.
Excuse me, you're next.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
China's bad behavior has really only gotten worse since the AUKUS partnership was formed. With that in mind, is the door open for Australia to get additional nuclear-powered submarines or other military capabilities not already in the deal?
I think China's been very respectful of us. They're paying tremendous amounts of money to us as in the form of tariffs. As you know, they're paying 55%. That's a lot of money. They never were paying anything over years and years and years. But they were like anybody else. A lot of countries took advantage of the U.S. They're not taking advantage anymore. No, China's paying 55% and a potential 155% come November 1st unless we make a deal. And I'm meeting with President Xi. We have a very good relationship. We're going to be meeting in South Korea in a couple of weeks. And we'll see what we can do. We have a very good relationship with China, but you know, it's been probably a little bit like your relationship with China. They try and take advantage, but most countries do. I mean, I can say the European Union took advantage, but not anymore. We worked out a very fair trade deal. Japan, we worked out a very fair deal. South Korea, where I'll be meeting President Xi, we worked out a very fair deal. And I expect we'll probably work out a very fair deal with President Xi of China. So most of you will be with us. It's going to be very exciting. And I think we're going to work out something that's good for both countries.
Are you at least interested in expediting the nuclear-powered subs to Australia?
Well, we are doing that, yeah. We're doing that. We have them moving very, very quickly.
Mr. President,
I don't think you've ever been to Australia. Have you thought about coming to Australia and trying out some of the golf courses?
I would, and I actually have been to Australia, and I did play one of your great golf courses. They have great golf courses there. But I have been to Australia, actually.
Would you come again?
Oh, I would. In fact, I've been invited to go, and
Indeed.
I'll have to give it serious consideration. No, it's a real possibility.
Did the Prime Minister invite you today?
He did.
And perhaps we could time it, must be said, with the President's Cup that Australia hosts as well.
When is the President's Cup?
We'll organise it at a time suitable for you, Mr. President.
Please, in the back, please. Yeah, in the back.
Yeah, Mr. President, the Prime Minister mentioned that there's a trade imbalance that's very heavily in America's favour. Why does America slap such heavy tariffs on a friend and ally?
Well, we don't, yeah. Well, we do in some cases. We do in many cases because we've been treated unfairly. But actually, the tariffs are very light. The one thing is you buy a lot of airplanes, so that helps because you buy a lot of the beautiful Boeings, the best of the Boeings. Boeing, and by the way, Boeing is really doing well. They have lots of orders, and they're really doing a great job. They make a great plane. But Australia, because of its location, which is great, but one of the things dictated by that location is you have to order a lot of airplanes. So I guess we have that advantage. They need a lot of airplanes in Australia, and that gives us a little bit of an advantage.
Mr. President, your Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, in his Shangri-La speech in, I think it was May, warned about the potential likelihood or threat of President Xi ordering an invasion of Taiwan. 2027 is also the year that Fleet Base West is supposed to start rotating those US and UK submarines. Do you see AUKUS as a deterrent for China in the Indo-Pacific?
Yeah, I do. I think it is, but I don't think we're going to need it. I think we'll be just fine with China. China doesn't want to do that. First of all, the United States is the strongest military power in the world by far. It's not even close. Not even close. We have the best equipment. We have the best of everything, and nobody's going to mess with that. And I don't see that at all with President Xi. I think we're going to get along very well as it pertains to Taiwan and others. Now, that doesn't mean it's not the apple of his eye, because probably it is. But I don't see anything happening. We have a very good trade relationship. We're going to have a very good, I think when we leave South Korea, it could be wrong, but I think we'll end up with a very strong trade deal. Both of us will be happy. I don't see that happening, no.
Mr. President, given the trade surplus that the US enjoys with Australia, would you consider lifting the tariffs that you've imposed on Australia?
President Trump continuing to take questions right now from reporters at the White House as his meeting with the Australian Prime Minister gets underway. I do want to give you one quick update here, and this is an update on the investigation out of Osceola County, where just into our newsroom, detectives say they are now clarifying that the incident that happened is not a kidnapping, but they are still trying to identify the suspect and find that car. They say they do believe there was a battery that happened, that victim that we heard about just a few minutes ago was battered inside that vehicle. They are continuing to investigate if that rises to the level of false imprisonment. They say they have some more investigation to do. They need to re-interview the victim, still have some other questions about what happened. They also said that victim has injuries consistent with leaving a moving vehicle and becoming injured. So they're asking anyone with information about this to call them, let them know if you have anything that might help the Osceola County Sheriff's Office with that investigation. We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus. We'll be right back after this, and we are still standing by as well, waiting for that news conference in Gainesville after the firing of head football coach Billy Napier. So keep it right here on Fox Local and on YouTube, and we'll be right back.
watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Garrett Weimer here, and give you a live look inside the White House, where President Trump is taking questions right now. We're going to go ahead and listen back in as he is meeting with the Australian Prime Minister, but taking questions from reporters right now. I do want to let you know we are still waiting for this news conference in Gainesville, where we're going to hear from the athletics director to talk about the firing of Billy Napier. The interim head coach, Billy Gonzalez, also going to be there. So we're going to bring that to you live as soon as that begins. Likely expected to be a little bit closer to 12:15, more so than noon. So you won't miss anything from that. We will bring that to you live as soon as it begins. But let's go ahead and listen back in live at the White House as President Trump speaks.
Great job. And when that happened, everything was different, and we were able to get a deal. If we didn't do that, if it wasn't, they wanted to do that for 22 years, Mr. Prime Minister. For 22 years, I had the pilots here, the B-2 pilots, and they came to the Oval Office, and I thought they deserved it. They flew 37 hours back and forth. We had 52 tankers up there. We had a lot of planes up there with them, but they were the primary plane, but we had a lot of planes, F-22.